Well, hello there, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're safe and well. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the new BSA Lightning CLX spring rifle. So, let's roll the titles. Here it is then, the BSA Lightning CLX break barrel air rifle. And this is my air rifle that I bought, and this is in 177 caliber, also available in 22. So just let's have a look then. Starting at the end, you've got, comes with a moderator. That moderator is removable, and there's a 1/2 inch UNF thread. So if you want to replace the moderator with something else, you can. This is a standard, standard hair curler and felt moderator. I've opened the end up and had a look. It follows very closely the structure of the moderators by a well-known German brand. Moving back then, you've got, I'll do a close-up. You've got gold lettering on the top of the stock. The bluing is okay. It's not like the deep blue, but there are no sort of like marks or scuff marks in the metal. Looks fine. Yeah, say gold lettering on the top of the stock there. We come back to the to this scope mount. Now, one thing that is interesting, this rail that they had on here is an 11mm rail, and the actual rail on the stock is 11mm as well, which is good news, because usually BSA put a 13mm dovetail rail on their rifles, which means that you have to buy different scope rings just for the BSA. But this has actually got 11mm, so all your existing scope rings will fit. Bit of an odd thing, this rail. There's a gap here, and there's like these two little plastic rods. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm going to be taking this off because I've found that with the cheek piece where it is, with a scope on this rail, I can't get the eye alignment, whereas if I attach directly to the rifle, I can. So I'm going to be having this, taking this off. It attaches with these torque screws, so it's quite easy to take off. At the back, you've got the manual safety. It doesn't set when you cock it. It's totally manual, so you can put that on and off at will. Nicely reachable by the thumb. Having a look at the stock then, this is the walnut stock version. They also do beech. Lovely piece of wood, made by Minelli. Got the BSA logo on both sides at the rear end. You can see they've attached a sling stud that's tucked in. This uses the same scoop design that looks like BSA using on all the new rifles now. If you've seen my Ultra review, then you'll notice that it's exactly the same system, and they've tucked that out of the way. So if you do need to put the back of your hand under there, you're not going to get the sling stud sticking in it. At the rear of the stock then, you've got quite this soft, rounded, soft rubber butt pad, which is probably one of the softest ones I've come across, actually. There's a single screw in the back, and it is adjustable, so you can slide it up and down, just up and down. There's no sideways adjustment to it, which is a nice touch. But coming back to the stock then, nice stippling on it. And one thing that I've noticed actually on here is that the stippling on the front end, where you grip with your fore, the fore end of the stock, feels a lot rougher and grippier than around the pistol grip, which is, a nice touch. So looking at underneath then, we've got the metal trigger guard and a full metal trigger. You've got your bottom stock screw there, and 2 stock screws at the front to take the stock off. A little bit more on taking the stock off later on. And then you've got the you've got the trigger adjustment screw, and that's just simply to adjust the weight of the trigger, clockwise to lighten it and anti-clockwise to make it heavier. Out of the box, I put my sort of spring balance trigger weight tester thing on it, and it's coming out in at just under £2 brake pressure, which for a Springer is, for general shooting use is fine. So that's the sort of general look of the rifle. What I'm going to do is I'll put a scope on it, and then we'll weigh it and do the measurements and see where that comes in. Okay, just to jump back in quickly then, I've taken the rail off. Funny rail really, it's got a bit of a slot in it, and there's like two plastic rods in there. I don't know if that's supposed to be sort of like an anti-recoil thing, but they're pretty solid and they don't move at all. So I don't see how that, what the purpose of that is. But one of the reasons I just pop back in is there's this screw at the end here, which is, I'm assuming, is like an arrestor screw, and they've made a corresponding hole for that to go into. That's not threaded, just a hole in the top of the action here. But on my rifle, when they've screwed that down, they haven't aligned it properly, so it's gone in through the hole in a little bit off center, and it's caused some damage to the top of the stock there. I'll do a close-in photo so you can see. So you can see it's not been aligned up properly when they've torqued that down, and it's caused this little burr, which is a bit disappointing really on a new rifle. But there you go. I thought that was worth mentioning. Got to show all these things and be as transparent as possible. So that's not great, but it is what it is, I guess. Here we go then. I've fitted my Optizan CP, which is a 3-12 by 32 scope, and I'm using medium 30mm sports match mounts, and with that rail removed and straight on the 11mm dovetails, it actually it's a nice fit. You can see I've got the cheek piece straight up in under my cheekbone, which is where I like to shoot, and perfect alignment. So yeah, recommend you look at that without the rail on. Seems to fit a scope much better. So certainly for me anyway. I've just put it on the scales, and with this scope it comes out 3.7 kilograms, which is 8.2 pounds. So let's just have a little measure of it and see how we come with the measuring tape. So we're going to go, it's 110 centimeters, which is 43¼ inches. Now, from what I've heard, the 2.2's got the shorter barrel by about 5 centimeters, which is that much, so not much difference. But apparently the 177 is more accurate with the slightly longer barrel. So that's all the bits and pieces, and now we've got the scope on. I guess what we want to do is see how it shoots, don't we? Well, it's been such a lovely day today. I've been out here pellet testing with the BSA Ultra, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to get the new Lightning out and put her through her paces. So we're at 25 yards. I've got a few different tins of pellets here just to try, just to see if we can start to see any preference. It's still early days because probably hasn't had a whole tin of pellets through this rifle yet, and so it's got a little while to bed in. A couple of things that I have noticed since I have been shooting it is that the moderator has a tendency to loosen off, and if your pellets start going wild, then just check that that's tightened up, because it's probably loose and you're clipping pellets. So what we're going to do, we'll start with the JSB 8.44s, and I've got a target down range, and we'll see how it goes, shall we? These are 4.52 head size, and they're quite a tight fit in the breech. Still dieseling a bit, this rifle, still dieseling a bit, early days, but I do like the smell. It's got a smell all to its own, I think. Don't know what else I could sort of liken it to. As you know, if you've watched the channel, it's unusual for me to shoot a Springer from the bench. Usually prefer shooting from the peg, but I had the bench out, so why change things? Oh, that was probably me. Held that aim for a little bit too long. Let's try another one just to make that up. See if we can put another one in that 4 pellets to the side. Make a nice 5 pellet group. That's better. Well, it's not a bad group. Let's move on. Try the Air Arms Diablo fields. These are 4.52. It'd be interesting to see whether these are tight, the same as the JSBs. No, they fit in a whole lot easier. They're supposed to be the same size. Yeah. I haven't bothered zeroing this in particularly well at the moment because obviously the zero is going to be different with different pellets, so I want to find out which one it likes before I waste a lot of time zeroing for one it doesn't. Ooh, bullseye. Oh, no, that was me. Don't put your finger on the trigger till you're ready to shoot, Jeff, because otherwise it will go off and the pellet will go where you don't want it to go. I'll do that one again. Yeah, it's amazing the difference. 4.52 head size, both of these tins. The JSBs are tight and the Air Arms not so much. Pretty loose actually. That's gone out a bit wide. I know we've done 5, but we'll just give that one more just to make sure. Perhaps it prefers the tight. Perhaps it prefers the tight fitting pellets. Who knows? Yeah, not as good as the JSBs. Right, what we're going to try now is we're going to try the Barracuda 8s. See how these do. Now these are, what size are these? These are 451s. So 451 head size, that is. Oh, they're quite tight. They're quite tight as well. Oh, I just looked on the target. I wrote Barra 15 on the target. That was because I was shooting them before. I should have said should be Barra 8, so just ignore the Barra 15. I'll change it when I take the target in. Yeah. Oh, seems to like these. I'm getting the impression that it likes a tight-headed, likes a tight pellet. Nice tight head in the barrel. I pulled that one a little bit. Might be me. Let's see where this one goes. Yeah, it's not too bad. I think we'll shoot another group of those. Now, one thing that I found with this is obviously, you know, different springers have different hold sensitivity. My HW97, basically you can't put any sort of grip on the fore end at all. You've just got to basically rest it on your hand and let it do its thing. But this rifle, she's a bit of a cheeky girl. She likes to be squeezed a little bit, not that much, just a little tiny bit, and seems to prefer that. Well, I think we're going in the same place as the last group. Oh, dropped that one for some reason. I'm having one of my funny turns at the moment. Don't seem to be able to hold the crosshairs steady. There we go. I'll tell you what, that high one up at 9 o'clock, I'm going to call that a flyer on me or something. We'll see if we can put another one in that tighter group, make it 5 shots, shall we? Oh, I think we dropped that even lower. We're in the group, never mind. Okay, what we're going to do next then? Got some of these Brazilian pellets that I've tested before that you saw on the channel. I've got the what we got? We've got the premium heavies, 8.33. And what's these head size? I think these are 4.52s. It just says 4.5. Oh yeah, 4.52. You can see it on the bottom of the tin, just in a different place to all the others. They actually print on the bottom of the tin rather than putting a sticker on these pellets. Let's see how it does with these. How tight these are. Oh, now, as Goldilocks would say, those pellets go in just right. Not too tight, not too loose. Ooh. That went really low. If I shoot another one in the target holder, I'm going to have to make an adjustment on the turret to bring them up, because I don't want to ruin my target holder. Yeah, right, what we're going to do is we're going to bring that up quite a way on the turret. Up. Where should we go? We've got, let's have a look, see what it is. Where are we? Turn it down to 10 times, that might help a little bit. Yeah, I'll go up 10 clicks. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is it 10? Yeah. Right, that should bring it up onto the paper. And we'll start again with 5. Oh, yeah. It's funny, they're 4.52s as well, but they're sort of like between the JSBs and the air arms. They're a little bit tighter than the air arms, but not as tight as the JSBs. Oh, it's on the paper. It's a nice comfortable rifle to shoot actually. This cheek piece just fits in really nicely, and it's nice and smooth. It's not too shiny and slippery. Notice on some of the other rifles I've wrapped them up with bandage because you know, to make them a little bit rougher, but this feels really nice, and you've got this thumb up indent in there, so it's a very comfortable rifle to shoot. Bullseye. Perhaps that bullseye was a flyer. Well, that's a nice 4 pellet group. Let's see if we can put a 5th one in there, shall we? Whoa, what happened there? I think I held the aim too long there, didn't I? Yeah. Thing is, you think, oh, just another second, the pellet will go. And it doesn't. And then you get a flyer. Let's try that one again. That's a bit more like it, isn't it? Right, just before we finish, I did notice that I accidentally picked up, when I bought some pellets out, I was going for 8.44s, and I actually accidentally picked up some JSB exact heavies, the 10.34s. So, why don't we give those a go? Just 5 shots. And see if it likes those, see if it likes a heavier pellet. While we're out here, before we pack up, seeing as it's such a nice afternoon now, before it's starting to get cold again already, now the sun's going down. Right, we're going to shoot up on the top row. Ooh. Surprised that's gone high after shooting those 8.33 RTXs. You'd think, seeing as they were heavier, that they would drop low, wouldn't you? But let's see where this one goes. Two more. Last one. Don't want this shooting segment dragging on too long, and I don't really want to speed it up because I quite enjoyed myself. Well, that's not a bad group, is it? Seems to like those heavies. Well, there we go. Little quick check of the pellets with the BSA Lightning. So you can see, not a bad performance at 25 yards. We'll have a look at the target. I mean, obviously there's a few off, which is me, and you know, gun's still got to bed in properly. But considering that I haven't had it long, that performance is pretty good, I think. So let's get back inside before it starts getting too cold. Right, let's talk about some pros and cons, shall we? Starting with the cons then. I've got to mention the cocking. I mean, the cocking, as you've seen from the shooting sequence, that the cocking, sounds really smooth and it feels smooth. There's no graunchiness in it, but it is a little bit on the heavy side, I think, from my experience of other break barrel springers. So certainly, I think that a younger person or somebody of small stature might sort of struggle a little bit with cocking, or won't find it particularly easy anyway until you get used to it. It might just be it, still needs to sort of bed in. But I think that's worth mentioning. I did find it, a little bit heavy to begin with. But bearing in mind, I've only put about 200 pellets through it, so it's not had much work done to it at the moment. So, with time, that could ease up a little bit when the spring bed's in a bit more. The gold lettering, not everybody's cup of tea. I mean, to be honest, I don't mind the gold lettering on the top, but I think they've gone a bit of a step too far with the bit on the side. You've got the serial number here, but then they've put a thing about read the operator's manual and that you can get a copy from BSA Guns. I just don't think that's really necessary to put on the side there, and I think it just sort of just does spoil the look a bit on that bit. Yeah, showed you earlier on the arrestor damage, that arrestor pin damage on the top of the block there. A little bit disappointing that that's a little bit sloppy. You expect a little bit better than that it'd be lined up properly when they screw that in, or the fact that they screw that in before they tighten the rail perhaps to make sure that it's aligned properly. So yeah, that's a bit of a downer, but it's not a deal breaker for me. No, not that fussy. It's covered up really by the scope ring here, so but needed mentioning. Right, let's talk about the trigger adjuster. Okay, so it's supposed to be an adjustable trigger, and as I mentioned, you've got the simple system that you've got the clockwise turn to lighten the trigger, and anti-clockwise to make it to increase the trigger weight. So there's me assuming that, like on most rifles, that adjuster is a grub screw, and it's not. It's actually a socket head screw, and because there isn't enough clearance for a full size socket head screw, they've machined the screw head to make it smaller so that it fits. But on mine, out of the box, that was screwed in as far as it would go. So basically, there's no further adjustment on my trigger with that adjustment bolt to make it any lighter. All I can do is make the trigger pull heavier, which is a bit disappointing. I mean, I'm not going to talk about going to modifying, but you'd have to fit a screw that is longer in order to get that extra adjustment. That shouldn't really be necessary. So as I say, as mine came out of the box, that's tightened to full lightness. And personally, if I'm shooting targets or if I was to shoot this with HFT, I would like that trigger to be a little bit lighter, and I'm not able, as things stand, to adjust that without modifying that bolt. So that's a bit of a negative really for me. The other thing that I want to mention as well is that I was just inquisitive, and I took the stock off of the action so that I could have a look inside and see what sort of a state the spring was, how much grease that was on there. I was pleasantly surprised that it was all nice and tidy and looked the way that I hoped it would look. But in removing the two parts, I need to warn you that there are a couple of little plastic parts that are inside here that do come away from the action, and it's a little bit fiddly to get them back in and to get everything fitting back in the stock properly. The first is there's two little sort of like U-shaped plastic. They're not clips because they just sit on part of the linkage. You can see them from the gap underneath. I'll show you a photo and point to them. So they've got a balance on top. You've got to balance those on top of that rail to fit in. And then at the back here, there is like a loose pin that goes all the way through the back of the action. and that sits on two U-shaped plastic blocks that sit inside the block, and you need to get those perfectly lined up, which is again is a little bit fiddly because that pin wants to slide about everywhere. I mean, I'd recommend sort of a good bit of blob of moly grease just to stop them moving. So just be aware. Don't take if you don't need to take the action off the stock, then don't do that, because you might find it's a little bit tricky and difficult to get it back in again. So that's the cons. Then let's talk about some of the pros. Okay, we've got the moderator on here. I know some people, some people would say, "Oh, you don't really need a moderator on a spring rifle. It doesn't help you much." But in this case, it screws quite a way onto the barrel, so there's a lot of support there. So you really need it as a cocking aid, to be honest. And what they've done is, instead of being a smooth outer tube, they've actually slightly stippled that, so you've got a bit of grip, which is a nice touch. So if you've got wet hands or something, you're not going to slip when you try and cock it. So I like that. As you can see from the shooting at the moment, it's only had about, I only put about 200 pellets for it. I was going to wait until I'd put through at least a tin of pellets before I did this review, but because people were asking, there's quite a few requests, I thought I'll get it, I'll get it out sooner rather than later. So even with 200 pellets for it, you can see the accuracy is pretty good for a Springer that hasn't bedded in, and it doesn't look that pellet fussy either. So that's all good news. Moving back to the end, I like this squidgy butt pad. It really feels nice. It's like one of those sort of like stress balls that you squeeze in your hand. I like the fact that it's adjustable as well. I don't know if anybody's realised that that's adjustable, but I looked at it and I thought, oh, I'll try that. Put an Allen key in the back, and it actually slides up and down. But I haven't seen anybody else mention that. But yeah, so it's adjustable, height adjustable butt pad, slides up and down, which is nice. And then last but not least, then we've got to talk about this wonderful Minelli stock. I mean, it's just so smooth, such a nice bit of wood. You can't stop sort of like stroking it. And you've got the thumb up, I didn't mention before, you've got the thumb up indent there at the back. So you can shoot thumb up, which is how I like to shoot, or you can, wrap your thumb round. So you've got the choice of the two, which is great. One thing that I'd say on this, actually, it's quite a sort of very matte finish on this wood. And one of the things that I was looking at with it was I was worried about, having dirty hands or oily hands and making marks on the stock. So what I'm intending to do with this is I had a look online to see what the best recommended stuff is for putting on the walnut stock, and it seemed to be a lot of recommendations for this stuff. CCL gun stock conditioning oil. I've got put a link in the description, and so I'm going to have a go with this, and then I'm going to get some gun stock wax and go over the top of it, just because I don't want to get any stains on this lovely wood. It's you got you got to really feel it to feel what I mean. It's just one of the smoothest stocks. It's great. So there you go then. All in all, I'm very happy with it. Now I know if you've read the comments from the Ultra CLX review, and I know there's a lot of people that have had bad experiences with with BSA rifles in the past. But I'm pretty new to the brand, and I haven't been exposed to that, so I can only talk about how I find these two rifles that I've got. And I think this, for the price, when you look at, other people are going to say, yeah, get the W brand, buy the W brand. But, this is I probably, I haven't looked at the prices, but, but this is probably about 30% cheaper than those. And you're getting a really good, nice rifle. So, and it's British made. This is made in Birmingham, England, by British workforce. You've got to support Britain, haven't you? So I would recommend this. Really like this rifle. Very pleased with it, and I will carry on having fun with it, and you know, once it settles down, I fully intend to try it on the HFT course as well, see how it goes. So there you have it. That's all I've got to say about the BSA Lightning CLX break barrel spring rifle. Well, that's it for this video then. I hope you found that interesting and enjoyed that. I say got the review done a little bit earlier than I was expecting because of all the requests. So there you go. We'll be revisiting that rifle sometime in the future once it's bedded in a bit more, and I'll be doing some pellet testing with it, and I'll show you that. So if you like the video, then please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. From my analytics, I know that at least half the people that watch these videos haven't subscribed. Doesn't cost you anything, you know, just click on the subscribe button. Nothing, you're not going to get charged anything, but it does help the channel because it helps promote it so that other air gunners can find it. And if you want to share it, then be my guest. So say thanks for joining me. Hopefully see you next time. Bye for now.